Welcome to the Ref Show with this week Mark Halsey and with former Manchester United coach Paul McGuinness. Welcome to the studio, gentlemen. We'll talk about referees orchestrating a game of football as you used to do and hitting all the right notes, and possibly it applies to the biggest game of the Premier League weekend, Spurs-Chelsea. Let's stick with Sunday's action first of all and say well done to Huddersfield Town to kick off the show. In the Premier League for the first time ever, 100% record, 2 wins, 1-0 against Newcastle. Aaron Moy. Hey, how about that? Just briefly.
Oh,
Huddersfield.
Fantastic.
What a story.
You know, they've got that feel-good feeling there at Huddersfield. Everybody, the fans included, and that's going to carry them a long way, I think. You know, there's going to be some tough times as well. They'll go more than 2 games without winning a game plenty this season. So they want to make the best of it and really enjoy every success they've got,
6 points in the bank already. 7, by the way, was the number of yellow cards in that game. Craig Pawson was in charge. I didn't see any major controversy as a result of it, so that's referee's credit.
I mean, I agree with Paul. I think it was a great advert, for the Premier League and Huddersfield. I think it was a great start for them. But just talking about Craig Pawson, I just wonder if he's lacking a little bit of confidence. And sometimes referees are like players where they need an arm around them and a bit of loving. Because obviously he had a difficult game last week at Chelsea, Burnley, where he sent a couple of players off. And 7 yellow cards. Watching the game, it wasn't a 7 yellow card game for me.
What was it then?
You could, I would say maximum 3.
Right.
And I just think he's lost a little bit of confidence in his recognition of careless and reckless. When he came onto the scene, I thought he was a great young talent, and
still could be, couldn't he?
Still could be with quality coaching. I just think he's taken a step back, but I think he'll come good again.
Well, maybe you can look at Anthony Taylor as a barometer or an example. First of all, Paul, from the playing side of the game, Spurs 1, Chelsea 2. Anthony Taylor's in charge. What the referee's performance for you? Obviously a feisty game as it's going to be between these two.
Yeah, no, very good. I mean, I think in these big games, you want to have that control, but you also want the game to flow, and that's very important to the referee. If you're not careful, you can stamp your authority on it too soon, and then that kills the whole game off. So it's getting the right balance between making the right decisions, getting the right control, I think, and he seemed to do that well. Yeah.
Right. Did he for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, his contrasting performances. I thought. I mean, Paul Steve was very good. I thought he was outstanding. And he's absolutely spot on. You've got to set your tolerance levels. If you set your tolerance levels too low, you're going to have a hatful of cautions, maybe 1 or 2 red cards. But I thought his recognition of careless and reckless was absolutely outstanding. There was a couple of indications where people said, perhaps Vertonghen was lucky, perhaps Dyer were lucky, but I thought he got them absolutely spot on. They were not serious foul play challenges, and I thought he was outstanding. I thought he controlled the game well. He tempo management of the game, spoke to the players, engaged with the players, had a smile with the players, and that makes the players far more relaxed when they know they've got a referee that they can trust in his decision making.
And something that professionals always like is when an advantage is played. and it leads to a goal, as in this case, Chelsea's win.
Well, that's right.
So everybody seems to be very, very happy with Anthony Taylor's performance. Okay, there were 7 yellow cards, but this was a game where the 7 yellow cards were warranted to keep control, you felt. And Keith Hackett in his Daily Telegraph column saluting it, and also Rob Harris on RefCam.
Excellent, yeah.
Everybody happy with that.
But I think also, Alan, for the players and the any young players watching as well, there's 2 or 3 incidents there where if the referee hadn't been quite so on the ball, there could have been red cards. Absolutely. And the players themselves have got to know you can't go into challenges hoping you're getting the ball, which happened with Dyer and Vertonghen. They're just hopeful, just a slightly different atmosphere, and the referee can send them off. And that's that control of your emotions, because I think there's quite a bit between Chelsea and Spurs over the last few years, history, and Dyer lunging in, just hoping he gets the ball. So from a coach's point of view, you'd have to say, well, look, the referee's in a sense done you a favour there. You could easily have gone if he wasn't so on the ball himself.
And coaches and players know their referees.
Yeah, and they knew this one. And this one seemed to get it spot on.
And he's a quality referee, and I can see him moving into the elite group of the UEFA referees for Champions League games.
The subject of challenges and what is a yellow card and what should be a red card is a constant topic, has been this season, and it's illustrated again over the past weekend, because say a couple of incidents. So we have Southampton 3, West Ham 2. This was an incident-packed game for Lee Mason, absolute flurry of big calls for him, including, I mean, there was in there a very nasty challenge, I think everybody would agree, from Mark Noble.
Well, that's, I mean,
of West Ham.
We discussed off air about careless, reckless with excessive force, endangering the player's safety, with brutality, at speed, out of control, and that just met the criteria laid down in Law 12.
How did he not show it
well,
react to that?
I mean, you're looking at Lee's position. He's in a fantastic position. He's seen it well. He's given a free kick, I think, to West Ham. He gave a free kick to Noble. His recognition of that challenge wasn't what it should be at that level. And you look at it, you think, why has Lee missed that challenge? Why has he not picked that up? Because he's blown his whistle, and I just look at it and I think, well, perhaps is Lee a bit unfortunate because he's not refereeing regularly in the Premier League, week in, week out? I mean, Paul must probably say about players, and if you're playing at the top level, you need to be playing week in, week out to get that match practice, that match fitness. And I just wonder if Lee's suffering because he's not referee. He's refereeing most probably one in 3 weeks.
I thought, Mark,
doesn't do the game a favour, does it?
But I thought there was an incident just before that happened.
Right.
One of the Southampton players had been caught. Which way around was it? There was like a chance of an elbow or so. He played an advantage, and as soon as the challenge came from Noble, he was looking for the. Right, where do I sort this out? And I often wonder with referees, because it's a very difficult thing. You play advantage, but in a flash, I forget things in a moment now.
Yes.
Now you're trying to remember what happened, who was it, what happened here, and then, now of course you've got to deal with the thing at source, the most important incident, but I can see how that could have been a distraction. There's no excuses, but knowing for young referees, how do you actually keep that in mind while you're looking at that?
You get the number of the player.
That's it. You've got to put it in your head.
You've got to put it in your head. But the one thing you say there is that you must never, ever take your eyes off the ball and off the players that are challenging. You must never do that. And to be fair, Lee was looking straight at it because he must have been looking at it because he blew his whistle.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I think in the back of his mind, because his first instinct wasn't that. It was to look behind and say, right, I'm going to sort this one out. And there's no excuses, but I'm saying for young referees growing up, good advice, right, get that in the name, but deal with this first.
But when you have those challenges, that you have a challenge with a reckless use of the arm or someone goes in a bit late, never ever play on. Advantage.
Well, that's good advice then, isn't it? That's the advice they need.
Because if you don't pick those little small fouls up and you let it go, then players
will take advantage.
Take the law into their own hands just to retribution.
To breeze through, so there's quite a bit more. Marko Arnautovic sent off for an elbow, picked that one up, and the late penalty for Southampton proved to be the winner. What did you think? Was that a penalty or seemed a bit soft?
It's a foul.
You think it's a foul, so technically.
Well, it depends. It's what you'd call being, clever old pro. Just give him a nudge. Gary Neville was an expert at it. Just give him a nudge in the back as it comes in. Now,
so for you, it's a penalty.
Well, by the letter of the law, it's a foul.
What do you think,
It's
Mark?
a physical game. I mean, if we're going to be giving those, we're going to be giving 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 a game. For me, listen, Lee Mason's seen it as a penalty. Like you say, we all have our difference of opinions. As a referee, never go looking for trouble because trouble will find you. And I think he would have got away with if he hadn't given anything, no one would have complained.
But technically, you can say he was correct. You couldn't haul him up and say, hey, you've made a howling mistake there, could you? Really, on that one?
Listen, that sort of contact goes on week in, week out.
In areas,
in the penalty area, in midfield, wherever. And you don't give free kicks.
Okay, talking about...
just on that point, is it a red card then?
No.
Goal scoring offence?
No, because it's got to be an obvious or actual goal scoring opportunity for it to be a red card.
Yes.
He's going to head it in, though, isn't he?
Well,
you don't.
We could talk all day and all.
I mean, I've got to say, if he'd have sent him off there, he would have got out of the ground.
We could talk all day and all night about this.
Managing the
complications.
Game.
Talking of elbowing, there was another one in the Premier League, of course. Hal Robson-Kanu, the match winner actually for West Brom at Burnley, who was sent off by Martin Atkinson.
Yeah, it's difficult for Martin. I thought Martin done refereed well. Is it violent conduct or is it reckless use of the arm?
Shall we come?
I thought it was more of a leaning to get the ball myself,
So, and that's where you come
it's
to
very
it.
difficult.
It's very difficult.
Very
But Martin's
difficult.
opinion was he thought it was an act of violent contact. He may not see it. He may have had a shout from the assistant.
Well, half time, we'll have to come to that and other topics. There's plenty more, Championship and Premier League, Part 2. See you then.